Filipino workers are fueling the demand for condominiums back home in the Philippines. In the third of our 5-part series on the booming real estate market in the Philippines, Channel News Asia's Christine Ong tells us why they're now investing in the country's property market.
After working abroad for almost a decade, Luis Arsenio Jr. finally decided to buy a one-bedroom condominium unit in the heart of the Philippines' Central Business District, Makati. Luis believes it's a wise investment as the 43 square meter apartment's value has now appreciated to as much as 30% from 3 years ago when he bought it. And while he is still on contract in Brunei as an engineer, he is able to lease out his unit.
Yung pera namin, ay kita na namin, ngayon pa lang meron na siyang proceeds, di ba? So, magandang investment. Kasi syempre, sa mga OFW, ina-anticipate din namin yung after yung work namin sa abroad. And then syempre, dapat meron ka man lang investment dito para naman, by the time na mag-retire ako, hindi na ako pwedeng mag-work sa abroad. Meron kaming pagkukunan ng resources.
Adelaida Rubiano shares the same sentiment. She's been working as a nurse for the past 12 years in Canada. Aside from an additional source of income, investing in real estate in the Philippines is a fulfillment of a lifelong wish.
I saved this for how many years? So this is my investment for what I have worked for. So I finally decide to invest in the Philippines because, as we say, I'm a Filipina, so it's still there's not the saying that Philippines there's now no place like home.
Property developers are aggressively targeting overseas Filipino workers as more and more OFWs are now investing their hard-earned money into properties in the Philippines. Last year, property firm Century Properties registered a 16.6% rise in pre-sales, exceeding its estimated $490 million target, crediting the 11 million overseas Filipino workers for the robust sales of its residential properties.
They save 1/3 of their monthly income for investments, and their investments are normally channeled through real estate purchases. And during the early days of OFW sales and repatriation, they used to give their money to their relatives, to help their relatives. But they've discovered later on that there was no evidence or trace of their contribution to their relatives after a while because they were spent. So there's been a consensus among them to save on real estate.
Favorable standard down payment of 20 to 30% and low bank interest rates of 5 to 8% are enticing more Filipinos to invest back home and even come back to the Philippines for good.
It's about time. Maganda yung government natin ngayon. Maganda mag-invest. Hindi katulad ng dati. Plano ko rin mag-invest like a small bar or restaurant, here in the Philippines. Basta dito sa Pilipinas.
Remittances from overseas Filipino workers account for about 10% of the country's GDP, which totaled to more than $20 billion last year. Christine Ong, Channel News Asia, Manila.